The 1952 Lincoln wheat penny is not just an ordinary coin, it represents a critical piece of mid-20th century American history, minted during a time when the United States was recovering from World War II and adjusting to the early years of the Cold War. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent first appeared in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, one of America's most revered presidents. The obverse side, as shown on this 1952 penny, features a detailed right-facing portrait of Lincoln, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1952 alongside the small mint mark S indicating its production at the San Francisco Mint. This penny belongs to the wheat reverse series, which had been in circulation since 1909 and continued until 1958, before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The wheat design on the reverse symbolized prosperity and agricultural strength, a reflection of America's economic foundation during the early 20th century. By 1952, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins annually, and the San Francisco Mint struck over 137 million pennies that year. Despite this high mintage, coins like the 1952 remain of special interest to collectors due to their place in the wheat cent series and the gradual discontinuation of the San Francisco Mint's role in circulating coin production. The San Francisco Mint would soon shift its focus away from regular circulation coinage, making the 1950s issues, including the 1952 more historically significant. Understanding the coin requires more than identifying its face value, it's about placing it in the social, political, and economic atmosphere of its time. In the early 1950s, America was experiencing post-war prosperity, suburban expansion, and rising consumerism. A single penny carried purchasing power that, while small, was far more meaningful than today, able to buy candies, small items, or add up significantly in savings for everyday families. Thus, the 1952 penny reflects both the utility of currency in daily life and the legacy of coinage as a medium of national pride and remembrance. Paragraph 2, Rarity, Minting, and Varieties, 1,000 words. When examining the 1952 Lincoln wheat penny, numismatists often analyze its minting details, production figures, and the varieties that can make it rare or valuable. With a mintage of approximately 137,800,004 coins, it is not considered a low mintage coin compared to some other wheat cents, yet condition and striking quality play a crucial role in determining its desirability. Most 1952 pennies entered circulation, and as a result, high-grade uncirculated examples are far scarcer. The San Francisco Mint was known in the 1950s for producing coins that sometimes displayed weaker strikes, which adds to the challenge of finding sharply detailed specimens. Collectors particularly seek coins that show crisp details in Lincoln. The 1952 Lincoln wheat penny cannot be fully understood without delving deeper into the minting practices of the era and the unique position of the San Francisco Mint in U.S. coinage history. The early 1950s marked a transitional period for the mint, both in terms of technology and regional output. The San Francisco Mint, established in the 19th century during the California Gold Rush, played a pivotal role in producing circulating coins for the western United States. By 1952, however, its role was diminishing as production increasingly shifted toward Philadelphia and Denver. The fact that 137,800,004 pennies were struck in San Francisco that year speaks to the mint's still considerable output, yet it also foreshadowed the end of an era. Collectors often view coins from San Francisco in the 1950s as more than ordinary. They symbolize the final chapter of a mint once essential to America's westward expansion and economic growth. Minting technology in 1952 was far less automated than today, which explains why repunched mint marks and die errors are so common. Workers still hand-punched mint marks onto dies, leaving room for variations and doubling effects that fascinate collectors. The broader economic context also enhances the story of the coin. The Korean War was ongoing, inflation was modest but noticeable, and copper remained a strategic material. Interestingly, pennies from this era continue to be made with a high percentage of copper, unlike modern cents that are largely zinc. Each 1952 penny thus carried intrinsic value in its metal content that today far exceeds its 1 cent face value. But beyond economics and minting, the coin represents cultural pride. The U.S. Treasury and Mint deliberately maintained Abraham Lincoln's portrait as a symbol of unity, democracy, and resilience. During a time when America was asserting its power on the global stage, keeping Lincoln's face on the cent reinforced national values. Every time a 1952 penny exchanged hands, it carried not just monetary worth but symbolic meaning, making it one of the many everyday items that connected ordinary Americans with their nation's heritage. Paragraph 5, Collectors, Market Trends, and Psychological Appeal, 1,000 words. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny is the way it continues to capture the imagination of coin collectors across generations. Collecting coins is not simply about financial gain, it is deeply psychological, rooted in nostalgia, curiosity, and the human desire to preserve history. For those who grew up in the mid-20th century, wheat pennies were part of everyday life, and finding one in pocket change today sparks powerful memories. This emotional connection elevates their value beyond market prices. From a purely economic perspective, the 1952 penny remains relatively common compared to key dates such as the 1909 SVDB or the 1914 D, yet it retains strong collector demand due to its role in completing Lincoln Wheat. To truly appreciate the 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny, one must understand the science and art of coin grading. Numismatic grading is more than a casual inspection, it is a standardized system that determines a coin's condition, rarity, and ultimately its market value. Services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, have become cornerstones of modern collecting, offering impartial certification that reassures buyers and sellers alike. For the 1952 penny, grading begins with an evaluation of surface condition, strike sharpness, luster, and eye appeal. Circulated examples are typically graded between good, G, and extremely fine, XF, depending on the amount of wear visible on Lincoln's hair, cheek, and coat, as well as the clarity of the wheatstalks on the reverse. Uncirculated examples, on the other hand, are assessed on a scale ranging from mint state 60 to mint state 70, with each increment reflecting subtle differences in luster, contact marks, and strike definition. A mint state 67 red 1952 penny, for instance, would be extraordinarily rare, showing nearly flawless surfaces and full copper brilliance. Collectors are often willing to pay exponentially higher prices for such top-tier coins, transforming a piece of copper worth 1 cent into a treasure valued at hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Preservation also plays a critical role in maintaining value. Exposure to air, moisture, and oils from human skin can rapidly diminish a penny's luster, turning a brilliant red surface into a dull brown over time. As a result, collectors store their 1952 pennies in protective holders, coin flips, or archival albums to slow oxidation. Some even employ inert gas storage or climate-controlled safes to preserve copper coins in pristine condition. This meticulous care underscores the paradox of coin collecting. While pennies were created for daily circulation and utility, the rarest and most desirable ones survive precisely because they were taken out of circulation and carefully preserved. Thus, grading and preservation are not simply technical exercises, they are rituals that elevate a 1952 penny from an everyday object to a certified artifact of enduring value. Paragraph 8, Numismatic Investment Trends and the Economics of Collecting, 1,000 words. The 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny also illustrates the economics of numismatic investment and the evolving trends that shape the hobby. Coin collecting has always balanced between passion and profit, and pennies like the 1952 exist at this intersection. For entry-level collectors, wheat pennies represent affordability. A person can begin a meaningful collection with coins worth only a few cents. Yet, for investors, certain high-grade specimens can yield impressive returns. The economics are driven by scarcity, demand, and certification. For instance, while there are millions of 1952 pennies in lower grades, only a fraction exist in high mint state.